Let's talk James Madison, one of the teams picked to win this conference by most. This is a very important preview. A lot of pressure on Jake. Tell us about the Dukes in 2025.
Kind of heard about it on Twitter, right? I think everybody wants to hear what this James Madison Dukes team will look like in 2025. I think that there is a ton of confidence from this team, from this fan base. We just talked about Marshall having a passionate fan base. JMU is a really confident team and a confident fan base because Bob Chesney in year one, I think, exceeded a ton of expectations because it was not easy to replace Kirk Cignetti, especially after all year in college football. You heard about how good Cignetti was doing at Indiana and how he brought all of these guys with him from James Madison to help them get into the college football playoffs. Like, while all that noise is going on, that's not easy to follow up. And I thought Chesney and them did a really, really good job going 9-4 in year one in the Sun Belt Conference. So now year two comes around. This feels like, dare I say it, championship or bust, conference championship or bust with this group. I think that's the expectation at this point. A ton of returning production. The one part that scares me, and we'll just acknowledge the elephant in the room, what's that quarterback situation look like? Alonzo Barnett III, really, really good player. I think he's probably in my top three out of G5 quarterbacks in the country. But are we going to see him at all this year? Got hurt on the last play of the regular season, a knee injury that it sat him out for the rest of the year. And I don't know if we're going to see him maybe till November. But at that point, if things are rolling with the guys that you have, why would you put him in? So who's going to replace him? You look at a guy like Matthew Sluka, hasn't played since September because he sat out at UNLV because he didn't get paid. He might be the starter. Camden Coleman, a Richmond transfer, another guy to look at. These are two pretty good options for them to maintain, but I would feel better about it if I knew if we're getting Barnett at least like midway through October. So we'll have to see. Running back George Petway returns. He had over 900 yards last season. After Io Adeye goes down, he was a big-time transfer from North Texas a couple of years ago. He gets hurt, and that's where Petway steps in, but Adeye is back. So now these guys have two dudes who have proven it at this level that they can rush for a ton. So I think the uncertainty at the quarterback position, you got to rely on these running backs, man, to really kind of take you across the finish line. I think there's three guys in that running back room that could really rush for over 500 yards. And when Barnett's healthy, at least, he has the ability to use his legs as well. A pair of FCS transfers, Richmond wide receiver Nick DeGennaro, he comes over with Coleman. So maybe that's a connection that'll be reused really well. And Villanova transfer Jalen Sanchez, two guys, really good. And then Iowa State transfer Isaiah Alston comes in. I think he's going to start right away. He just got underused at Iowa State. I really like his game. The offensive and defensive line saw six guys jump into the portal and all go P4. Just shows the kind of talent you're producing there. But I think this defensive line has a handful of guys who saw snaps last year, and the offensive line brings back three starters, including first-team right tackle Pat Mack. I think it's Macamaturi. You can correct me on that, James Madison fans, in the comments if you want to. But I think this team feels confident, especially on the offensive line. And there's defensive line, like this is a developmental group. I think that they can plug and play guys in the defensive line to be really good right away. Like I said, this team caught a lot of people by surprise for how well they maintained their success after Cignetti took the bulk of the roster. So the expectations feel all-time high with this group heading into 2025. If we want to get into the schedule a little bit, if this is a group that wants to, I mean, we can, there's about, I don't know, guys, 6-7 teams that are legit teams that can compete for that G5 spot in the playoff. You got to get through the bulk of your first month of September. Weber State, obviously, then at Louisville, at Liberty, Georgia Southern. And then Georgia Southern obviously kicks off conference play. It's not like those Louisville and Liberty are, I mean, Louisville might be ranked, but it's not like those teams are, in Alabama that you'll see, or like those Georgia games that you see.
Yeah.
They're beatable, but we'll have to wait and see. Does 11-1 get you into the G5 spot? You get Washington State in the second final week of the year. Like, that's a weird scheduling spot, but you get Wazoo at home. So I like them in that spot. Is a loss at Louisville, 11-1. Does that get this team into the playoff?
Depends what your Mountain West team or American team does. I think if there are two teams that are 11-1, one of them being James Madison and then somebody like a Memphis or somebody, I think the American will get the nod. Although this James Madison schedule does help them. Like, they're not gimmies.
I don't think it's nothing crazy. You get Georgia Southern, you get Louisiana, both at home. Those are like two of the top two teams in their own division. At Texas State, we'll get to them. Pretty uncertain team there. Like, I think it's a really favorable Sun Belt schedule.
I think the Sun Belt's run into these issues the past couple of years of just kind of beating up on each other to the point where, like, there hasn't been that team that really separates itself on the national scale and grabs the attention of maybe a playoff committee. But back to James Madison, I think the quarterback battle is quite interesting. If you get Alonzo Burnett healthy, you think he's the guy, but like, people forget how good Sluka had that UNLV team playing before, because they had a equal caliber quarterback come in and keep doing what he was doing. But like, he was good, man. He offered a lot on the ground for that team. I'm interested to see who runs out there.
He can, but that's kind of what they're going to need to do, right? Like I mentioned, the FCS wide receiver transfers, their running back room is loaded. If Sluka can use his legs efficiently, sure, that's probably good enough to get it done. He beat Kansas last year, so what's at Louisville, week 2?
That's fair.